Thank you. Can you hear me okay? Well, my name is Ted Martin. I'm really happy to be here. I'm still pinching myself every day. It was not very long ago when the news broke. I got a call from General Officer Management Office, GOMO, and they said, "You're being considered to be the Commandant." And I said, "Are you sure you have the right Martin?" Because I just never even dreamed about it. It wasn't even on my dream sheet because I thought I wasn't worthy. Or never in my wildest dreams that I think about that. I dreamt about getting back on a tank in a division someplace. But come 15 July, I took command, and my command sergeant major came on board at the same time. Command sergeant major Todd Burnett. He's a combat engineer. He's a professional soldier, and together we're a wingman team that's tackling the development of these great young men and women, the United States Corps Cadets. But I am a tanker. I thought I'd tell you just a teeny bit about my background, and then I want to tell you what my very short time in the saddle, what my report to you would be on what I'm seeing. First, when I left, I have not returned in 28 years except for a few hours. I wasn't fortunate enough to become a tactical officer or a member of the dean's staff. Timing just didn't work out. I mean, that's the story I'm going to tell you. Not that my grades weren't good enough. So I left 28 years ago. You hear a lot about West Point. I came back only for football games and swim meets and things like that, but I heard a lot, and my three brothers are also graduates from 75, 80, and 85. So we all had touched West Point, but just for a little bit. And, you always kind of hear what's going on, and it starts to fill your mind with what with what is actually going on here at the military academy. So then I came on board on 15 July, and I had a lot of preconceived notions about what had happened up here. I expected to see no discipline. I expected to just see long hair and butterflies and unicorns and other things. And I'll be point blank honest with you. I am really impressed with what I'm seeing. And I just got through talking to the Cal class. Soup and I are working our way through all 4 classes today. And I thank them right off the bat for serving at a time of war because they didn't have to. They could be going to any college or university. These are some pretty high quality folks, just like, we were way back in the day. But they could go anywhere they wanted to. They don't have to serve, but I can guarantee that everybody that's wearing a cadet uniform right now is going to fight. They are going to fight. And it's not going to be pretty, and it's going to be a long way away from home. So these are some pretty fine young men and women. And so I thank them for their service. I really like that I start with that base material here, that we all start at using the West Point Leader Development System to develop them. Now, I've been in the saddle for less than a month, but here's what I've seen. I've seen a dramatic shift in the way we do business here, and the way we look at developing these young leaders. And it looks different. And you're going to be uncomfortable when you first see it, but I ask for your patience. And I guess the biggest thing that I would tell you that would send a signal to you is that as I looked at cadet basic training, CALs are the squad leaders. And those squad leaders take responsibility for their squad, and they educate, train, inspire, and lead them through the training. The starkest example of that is on the culminating live fire exercise for the new cadets. It's a fire team live fire, led by the squad leader. So that squad leader is going to lead with a weapon in hand on an extremely arduous live fire course his new cadets. The earliest they cross that threshold is about week 4 in a cadet basic training, and they're doing a full-up fire team live fire, which is pretty darn impressive when you think that it takes 14 weeks to make an infantry soldier at Fort Benning. From day 1 to graduation with a blue cord and a blue disc, it takes 14 days, and with all of those training days, we culminate there at a buddy team live fire under the supervision of a drill sergeant. So our infantry are being trained to this level, already accelerated to the 4-week level. You see a cadet leader with their new cadets executing a fire team live fire. And they don't do it once, they do it twice, because there's 2 fire teams in a cadet basic training squad. So that ought to kind of put it in perspective for you. And that has permeated the entire system on how we're educating, training, and inspire these young men and women. Another thing I saw that kind of shocked me was after the march back and the first day of reorganization week, you know, you're going to go down and pick up your books, among other things, and find your classroom. What I saw was, everywhere I looked, I saw a yearling married up with a plebe, heading down to pick up books, heading down to find their classroom. So like any professional military organization, they are welcoming in the new class, taking responsibility for them. I'm telling you, they're not making it easy, but that's the kind of organization they're building. So we're planting a seed in these young cadets' minds on what right looks like in the United States Army. General Huntoon is he's very clear. He wants the Army standard that we shoot for. You'll find that now for a first-class cadet to graduate, they must pass the Army Physical Readiness Test. And sadly, last year we had 12 firsties that didn't believe that and had to be held after graduation and graduate in August. So there's a pretty high standard. Although a lot of things have changed, I think we've got a pretty good Army standard that we're shooting for, and then in almost every case we exceed that with the requirements we place upon the cadets. My oldest brother from class of 75, when he heard I was going to be the commandant, first he didn't believe it. Second, he called me and said, hey, can you make sure they have that, put the starch back in that place. I said, okay, I'll do my best. So I came up here and took a look around, and what I found was that the military standards are very high, just different than what we experienced here back in the day, but that what the dean does to these new cadets, the experiences that they have, the pace at which they move, the requirements that they have to tackle in the academic arena are at least fourfold more difficult than back when I was here, 79 to 83. Unbelievable. And what that has done is that it's helped us move to a higher academic level than I could have even have dreamed of. I think if I came in today with my youth and my strength and two good eyes, I would have a hard time tackling the academic challenge that these cadets face. So combine that with an environment that they live in, I'm pretty happy with what what I'm seeing here. I'd also tell you that if we were just to go back in my life 5 years and come forward quickly, I've had a lot of hands-on experience with recent West Point graduates in combat, at the National Training Center, and at the schoolhouse down at Fort Benning, Georgia. And what I was seeing with the lieutenants that were graduating was not matching up with what I heard was going on at West Point. I heard the standards had been dropped. I heard that it wasn't as tough as it was. I heard that they weren't getting the same experiences. But what I was seeing on the battlefield was a sharp, articulate, proud, courageous lieutenant. And then I saw it again as a brigade commander. But where I really saw it was at the National Training Center, and that was a unique assignment. I was the commander of the operations group. And there I had the great pleasure of being able to touch all the way down to the platoon level, see what they're doing, see how they're developing. And what we have created here is a really fine leadership product, because they're not faced with the tough challenges that a tanker back in 1983. Table 8, which is now called Table 6, yes, tough as always, but now we're throwing the asymmetric warfare at these young kids, and that's what they are. I'm 50. So they are able to look at the different problem set that they're getting, and they're finding creative ways to get things done. They still have to do the full spectrum from low intensity to high intensity combat. Now it's called combined arms maneuver and wide area security, but they're able to tackle all that, but they're really excelling at this new kind of threat that we face. And you can't underestimate this enemy. It is not black and white. And so the type of things that we're doing at West Point with outcomes-based training, if you will, is we're giving them a tough problem to solve, some resources, some time, and we're setting them loose on it, be it in the leadership arena in garrison, or as squad leaders in cadet basic training, or on any one of the many different tasks that they perform during the school year or the summer. And so they're learning not what to think, but how to think. And I really truly believe that, and it's paying off. Now, when you first get exposed to it, you're going to be uncomfortable. you are going to be uncomfortable. When you see how they run ranges, we have to give them a little bit, we move the boundaries on the left and the right a little bit further out so they have room to maneuver. And they're more than just marching us down to the range in order to do some training. They have to plan, prepare, execute, assess, conduct an after-action review, share that information across other companies. And I think that was probably one of the other fascinating things I noticed. In combat, we know now with dispersed operations, with company outposts all over the place, the company commanders need to be able to not only talk to their own fellow company commanders 20, 30 kilometers away, they need to not be afraid to cross a battalion boundary and call another company commander in the 2nd Battalion and say, this is what I'm seeing, what are you seeing? And so the same thing is playing itself out here at West Point at Cadet Basic Training. When one company hits the meat grinder at individual movement techniques training because they didn't plan it well enough, we still execute the training to standard, but they have a very long, hard day. When we see those cadets automatically calling left and right flank and telling them what they have. So that was pretty fascinating for me to see that. I was wondering where the seed got planted that I saw in Iraq, Afghanistan, and at the National Training Center, and it's planted right here. So I hope you have confidence in the way we're approaching our training here and our development of these young leaders. It's constantly in a state of change. Right now we're reviewing what we're going to train in cadet basic training next year. We're looking at what we're going to bring the yearlings because we want to make it relevant, difficult, and challenging. Last thing I'll tell you is I did hear a lot about the mess hall that I didn't like. I heard they only eat together once a week, Thursday, and that's a spirit meal, so they're not even wearing dress gray. I wondered when they wore dress gray or white over gray other than a parade. So I took a look at what they're eating. I was looking for Martha Washington sheet cake, Congo bars. They tell me they still make them, but I haven't seen them yet. Likewise, shepherd's beef pot pie, all the good things that we remember. But the cuisine in the mess hall has changed dramatically. The way we feed cadets and where we feed cadets had morphed over time. And like I said, I unplugged 28 years ago, and I plugged back in on the 15th of July. And frankly, I didn't like what I saw. I didn't see the camaraderie. I felt that the cadets were being robbed of that development at the tables. And I'm not talking about, cutting the pie and filling the glasses. I'm talking about the banter and exchange between cows and firsties and yearlings and upperclassmen, and the cadets listening and understanding that there's a lot going on at the military academy and hearing about their summer experiences. I learned so much at the tables, it's almost like you're going back in time to the regimental system when every officer in the regiment would eat together. Okay, so given that, I also didn't like the amount of waste that I was seeing. We had grab and go. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but cadets could go in, fill up make a plate of food and take it back up to their barracks. Well, as General Huntoon told you, the barracks are in pretty sad condition right now. We've got a plan to fix them. But we were introducing a lot of filth into the barracks. And no matter how much you order to be clean and how much you clean, when you find a rat inside the barracks, it's not one of the two-legged variety, you get a little bit upset. So what we're looking at is we're looking towards an objective mess hall. The current campaign plan is being developed, but the straw man is looking at into the future. We're looking very hard at the cuisine. We wanted this to be the premier dining experience in the Army. Not that they're going to get steak every day, but they're going to get the kind of fuel that they need, we call it fueling the soldier in the Army. It's very important to me that we get the right food into their hands. And we also want to have fitness tables for special diets for people that have difficulty controlling their weight, and also people that want to eat an extremely healthy diet. Right now, there's no options. So we're looking at the cuisine both from the perspective of getting the right fuel into their bodies, which is going to allow us to reach peak performance with them. We're also going to have an option for people that come in here and aren't in good physical condition. Because right now, the Department of Physical Education is working with me, but the mess hall is working against me. And it doesn't make any sense to me. We're also looking at changing the amount of times cadets dine together in a family-style setting. And I'm going to kind of hold off on the exact details because the superintendent will make the final say here shortly, and then we'll work on contract changes. Funny thing about West Point, the going-in position is, well, that's the way we've always done it. I'm in the unique position of saying, well, that's the way you've done it recently, but back 28 years ago, it's not the way we did business. And I don't want to turn the clock turn the hands of time back to the very beginning. I want to put it to the right spot on the, back in the history books where we take all the good things about the mess hall and make them even better. My goal is 2 July of 2012, our day, those brand new cadets walk into the Army's flagship mess hall.